What's going on, people? So I think this is up and going, but got to give it a second, like I always say. But I'll ramble a bit for a moment here. So back in the olden days, I think I stopped in December of last year, or well, I guess January of this year. Either way, I used to sit down and talk about all the shoes that I wore over the previous month or whatever. It's kind of like a time to go back and cover some things a little deeper than whatever reviews I may have done, or just talk about some stuff that I thought was worth talking about, right? But I stopped doing that because I put the word out there saying, like, does anybody care to still see these or whatever? And there was a lot of silence. And I was thankful for that because logistically, I kind of hate doing these things, right? Kind of go through, pull out all these boxes, then make this mess, put it all back. Not a huge fan of it, right? But I figured if people were into it, I'd go with it. But luckily, they weren't. So now I just do them when it makes sense. I don't know why I sat this down. I actually need it. Anyway, so last month, September, right? I wore a lot of Boost shoes because when I got started into buying the Boost shoes, it happened to be September. And I don't know that they have an actual thing like Air Max month in March. So I just go with September because I got a lot of these things and it gives me a reason to break them out. So I've been posting pictures and whatnot over the things that I've been wearing, and for whatever reason, completely overlooked these. And these were like a daily wear for me. This is the Boost Slides, right? Because when I'm indoors, I wear slides. It's just how I am. Could wear shoes, but that just seems nasty to me. Either way, so these definitely got overlooked. And I will say, as much as I like shoes, Boost shoes or whatever, these kind of fall a little short. I mean, they're not bad, I'm just like, I can see why they didn't really sell a whole lot of them or make a bunch of colors. I think they made like three, you know what I'm saying? Either way, so these are week one, week two, week three, so on and so forth, right? Through week four. Not all of them are actually in order of how I wore them, but for the most part, they are. It's just some things aren't in the boxes because I don't keep the boxes out for everything. Some stuff's just out and ready to go, like these, because these are trail shoes, and so I generally just like throw them on a lot. This particular pair, anyways, it's the neighborhood Ultraboost all terrain, right? So you look down there, you do see like it's got like kind of a more rugged sort of outsole compared to like a standard Ultraboost, right? See how this is kind of got like thicker things, whereas this one's a little flatter, right? Like some well worn down Yeezy slides or something. But I do like these a lot just because they look cool or whatever. They're not anything amazing as far as like trail shoes go. I would rather wear a lot of the other stuff. And honestly, I was a little let down at first because when I heard Neighborhood Ultra Boost, I was thinking Neighborhood the band, right? And this is Neighborhood the guy. He's some Japanese dude or something. Again, not a bad looking shoe or whatever. I was just, I didn't quite get what I wanted out of it. And then these came out a couple times this month, but, threw them in the beginning anyways. So I said something in the past about how I buy a lot of concert shoes, or sometimes things get downgraded to concert shoes. And that's what happened with these, right? So the Supernova Ska Festival, I definitely wore these a lot during that. And earlier in the month, I can't remember what it would have been, maybe Rob Zombie. I feel like that was the early month concert that I went to. Either way, this is an Ultra Boost 2.0. You can tell because on the design here, it doesn't have a little heart shape, which you'll see on something else. And then the threes had lines and the fours had squares, right? You'll see a couple of those. Anyway, so long time ago, I wore these to a turnover show. Some girls spilled a bunch of alcohol on them. Luckily, you couldn't tell because of the coloring and whatnot, so that was cool. But in that moment, these were instantly downgraded to concert shoes, and that's where they have been since 2020. Yeah, because it was actually it might have been 2019. Pretty sure, might have been 2019. Either way, moving along. So these, I kicked the month off with these right here. This happens to be the first ever Ultra Boost shoe that I bought. It's a 1.0, as you can tell there. Excuse me, a 2.0, as you can tell there. It's just your standard core black, right? Not normally my go-to, but back in 2016, buying Boost shoes, like if you could find a pair, you got that pair, right? Because they were super hard to come by. And I bought them and I put them on. I was like, oh my God, these things are amazing, right? It was life-changing stuff. You know what I'm saying? And now I have some number of pairs of Boost related things, right? I mean, I got like 40 of just 350s, right? Ultra Boost variations, probably, I would guess, I'd wager about 30 to 40. That seems fair. Either way, I do like these. You know, they're cool, right? They go with everything. But again, they're just black, so they're kind of plain. Not that there's anything wrong with being black. I'm black, right? And I'm cool with it. But sometimes when you look at the shoes and stuff, it's like, I feel like there could be more here. So let's move this along. Speaking of another pair of black shoes right here, this is going to be the, what's this? Oreo, I think is what it was called. This was my first pair of 350s, right? So that's why I started the month with these two shoes or whatever. I got these from a friend. He bought his size. Well, he was trying to get his size. Ended up with this one because the way things played out. And he was going to resell them to get his size and ended up getting them some other means. And so he sold these to me for retail and said, hey, if they don't fit because sizing is a little weird, just let me know. And I was like, oh, these are fine. I know not everybody's into the whole true to size thing when it comes to the 350s, but it works out for me. And these worked out pretty well too, in a way. But at the same time, it did kind of end up costing me a lot of money in the long run. Not saying like I wouldn't have got a pair of 350s eventually or whatever, but given that I took to these pretty quickly, it made me try a little harder to get some of the other pairs earlier on, right? And you actually won't see a lot of 350s over the month because I just didn't really wear a lot of them. This right here is the Nike Runner. It's one of the earlier releases, right? Because after a while they changed the name to I-5923, which you'll see one in this next stack. Either way, it's goldenrod color, so it's got like a golden sort of thing, mustard almost, whatever you want to call it. Either way, I like them a fair amount. The problem with these, as I've said in the past about certain other things, they do feel a little big at true to size, right? So I went down a half on this particular one. Not a fan of it. So that's kind of why sometimes I'm a little hesitant to say like to go down, because sometimes you go down and then you're like, oh no, this is not going to work for me. Other times, like in the case of like the Jordan 12 or something, works out just fine. Not with these, not with these, but they don't make them anymore anyway, so I guess it doesn't even matter now, does it? Get that stack over to the side. So week two, let's keep this thing going. I started that week with the Ultraboost 19, which was for a long time my favorite Ultraboost model. And you know what? It still might actually be because it just had everything going for it that I like. The 21s and 22s had like a weird bubble, not bubble, like backside that was just like super big. The 20 itself it just felt odd after wearing these for so long. The previous ones, I could tell like the way they retooled the boost was like significantly better on the 19s. So this might actually be still my favorite Ultra Boost model. It is what it is though. Either way, so one of the things I liked was like down here when you're running, they have this stitching here to kind of help keep your foot in place and whatnot. It's very nice the way they did this whole thing. But then after they switched to the prime blue thing and they were like, oh, let's stop using so much material and start using more recycled things and stuff, it kind of affected the feel of the shoes, at least in my opinion, for the 20s specifically. So that's another thing, like how much I didn't like the 20s plays into possibly why I like the 19s so much. But they had some awesome colors too. It was probably the last Ultra Boost model that had like all the amazing colors too. So yeah, a lot of factors go into me saying that the 19 is the favorite. And as I say this all out loud, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Though this right, how have I missed all these comments? Did those just pop up? Delhi Kanada says hi, and then PP. I don't know what that even means. And then Foxy says hi there, and then Delhi says India, and then Foxy says, may I ask how much the first pair costs again? I honestly don't know. What was the first pair? Let's start with that because I don't know. But also, since none of these are recent releases outside of this 424 pair, I don't know that I know the prices of most of these. I'm gonna guess 180, right? I feel like Ultra Boosts are 180 and Nikes are like 120, 130. I don't know. But let me know what the first pair was, and then like we'll go from there. But hello to all of you. The yellow ones. Okay, the yellow ones. I would say that those are probably in the 120 to 140 range. I'd lean more towards the 120. That's just what I'm guessing. But again, those came out in 2016. So wait, was it 16? Oh, that was probably 17. I'm thinking 2017 for those because 2017 for those. Either way, though, actually, it could have even been later because I got my first pair of Nike runners in. Oh, no, I'm thinking something else. Yeah, I'm going to stick with 17. All right, so this right here is the Ultraboost Uncaged, which actually, you know what? This comfort wise, I don't know if they can compete with those, but I really like the Ultraboost Uncaged like a whole lot. I mean, I know I just went down this whole thing about how this is the best one, and for a lot of reasons it is, like functionality and all that stuff, color wise, sure. But these Ultraboost Uncaged, like when they stopped making these, I felt like a part of my soul had been ripped out. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but I was not happy about it, and I'm still not happy about it. And the things that they have made Uncaged wise since they stopped making these have fallen way short of where these set the bar. That's just a personal opinion, though. But to me, even from the beginning, comparing like an Ultraboost Uncaged to the standard one, these felt so much better. They looked cooler, at least in my opinion. And for the first long while, all the colors that went on the Ultraboost went on the Uncaged as well, at least a lot of them. So there was that piece. And just to anybody who's wondering, you're probably not going to be able to see in there a whole lot. Yeah, probably not. Where's that flashlight? But there we go. So down in there, you see that like that black piece and whatnot. What that is the actual cage for the Ultraboost Uncaged, right? Because there's no cage on the outside, so they have to put something on the inside to at least let it keep its shape, right? And it's the same thing that you'll see on. I don't have a pair, so you won't see it, but on the plastic piece towards the end of the 350s, where you can see through, like the piece that you see down here on the front of the foot area, it's kind of a similar sort of situation to those. But yeah, the Ultraboost Uncaged is really, really good, and it just sucks that they don't make them anymore. Let's see. And much obliged. Okay, yeah, no problem. Glad to help, though. Hopefully, I mean, none of these were big sellers, honestly. So if you're looking for a pair, you could probably find them online at a decent price. That's like right around retail, I would imagine. I mean, StockX fees can be pretty terrible or whatever, but eBay is a thing, right? And I think their fees are more normal, right? StockX is like Ticketmaster. It's freaking ridiculous. And especially the Ultra. Well, you're going to be seeing a lot of Ultraboosts, various models, various colors. This is similar to the Nike Runner, but it's the I5923. I forget what the exact reasoning was. It's either in the purple video or the green video where I went down and found out why and then did some quick thing about why they changed the name. But either way, this is a 5923. They used to have the name on the side, but I think they only did that with the ones that were different models or different styles, I should say. But this one, it's kind of got a woven sort of thing going on in there, right? And then these pieces, you can kind of tell it's like a little raised up, so it's a thicker overlay than you'd normally be used to. So if you think about the gold pair that I just showed, and you look at this one, very much the same, just slightly different, right? Not a big deal. But I didn't prefer this style. I'll say that. I prefer like the flat style, But either way, I do really like the color of these. I'm a big fan of like the maroon, burgundy, whatever you want to call it. So there's that. But again, like I was really into that model when they first came out as the Nike runners. And I thought like, okay, Adidas has a winner right here. And then unfortunately, after the renaming and stuff, they just kind of stopped making them. And it just didn't make any sense to me because you have like the NMD that was doing pretty well and stuck around, like it's still around, and they still make various Ultraboost models, and a lot of the older things still come back once in a while too, but those seem to have just been completely put to the wayside. This is the dazzling blue Yeezy 350, which when was this? Because this is where things get blurry. These were made in October of 2021, right? So 2 years ago. Now, when these were coming out, I saw them and I thought this might be the best 350 I've seen in a while. Because if you've watched my 350 videos, I don't always have the nicest things to say because I'm left underwhelmed by a lot of them. But I saw this one and I was like, I really like this one because it's the style I like with the supply thing. Like you can kind of catch a little bit on the inside, like the stripes that they have, like a light blue sort of thing going on in there. It's a little easier to see from the inside. Pull that flashlight back out again. See, that's what I'm saying. Like you kind of see like the black and red, excuse me, the black and blue down there on the inside, right? I, so you do see that peeking through on the outside if you look at it from the right angle. But either way, I saw these coming out and I was like, I got to get these because these seem fantastic. And it was the one 350 that I just like swung and missed on, right? If you've seen the videos, right, I get most of them, not all of them, but I get seemingly all the ones I want and then a bunch of others. But luckily, sometime later, SVD Vadasclo or something like that, they did a release, did a little raffle. I won that raffle, which meant I had to pay those overseas shipping prices and whatnot, which I'm not a fan of. But when it's for something that I truly want, as it was in this case, I just go with it because I've paid more for things that I wanted less, right? Retail wise, sometimes, again, those fees can be crazy and conversion rates if you got to deal with that. My Hirachi collection, a lot of that came that way. This is the AFC 424 Adidas Ultraboost, right? We'll just keep this thing over here. So you can kind of see down there, it's got like the Arsenal Football Club, and you got the 424. And that's also at the top of this particular one. This is an Ultraboost 22, right? Which is from a distance basically the same thing as an Ultraboost 20. Excuse me. This is a 21, which is the same thing as like a 22, right? The biggest difference visually, if you get close enough, on here you'll kind of see that the stitching pattern that they have on here, it goes all the way through. See that? It goes all the way through to the back, right? Whereas if you look at a 22, it stops right here on the toe piece, similar to the Ultraboost 1, kind of like how they had the heart shape. And then when you look on the side, you'll see like little indentions in the actual stitching to where it almost looks like it's poking through these little openings. So that's really like the only difference to me between the 21 and the 22. It's a slight variation. They both had very lackluster colorway options though, so they got that in common. Moving along, we have an NMD. This is an NMD R1. I do not like the NMD. It's not nearly as comfortable as other Boost models. The thing that gets me buying them is that much like the 270, because I feel the exact same way. I don't like the 270, but these get so many colors that are worth picking up, at least in my opinion. That's the only thing that makes them sell. And they're super cheap, which is probably what keeps them in the eyes of a lot of people. I think these come in at like 120 maybe. Yeah, that seems fair. But anyway, so this is like the solar red color, right? So you can kind of tell it's got a lot of that going on. Catching it outside in the daytime, and it might just blind you. It's a thing that happens. Got a little Homelander situation going on, or Cyclops. There's also that. But either way, I do like this particular one a lot. The best NMD, in my personal opinion, is the XR1 Prime Knit. That one, I don't know what it is, but it just feels perfect on the feet, right? I don't have one over here because I didn't wear one this month or whatever, or last month. But if you ever seen me talk about them, I've always spoken quite highly of them. Moving along, courtesy of Nice. When I say courtesy of Nice Kicks, I mean that's like who made it. They didn't give me these, right? Nobody gives me anything for free. But there you go. There's Nice Kicks down there on the inside. Nice Kicks down there on the inside. So this is the Woodstock Ultraboost. You got the little bird and the guitar hand thing up there, right? So basically both shoes look exactly the same. It's just that this one, the other one will be flipped, right? So the color you have on the outside is on the inside, something to that effect, right? But either way, and it has a nice gum bottom down there. I saw these and I did not think I would ever get them because they seemed like they were going to be super popular. Apparently they made a whole bunch of these, barely any of the black ones, because I definitely did not get the black ones. But I was able to get these through some kind of like not resale, but like a restock or a late sale. I'm not sure what it was, but I didn't really care either. I just knew that I got the thing that I wanted. And they come in this nice fancy box, which I got some dirt on one day. And I was like, well, guess that box is just going to be dirty forever because I don't think I can clean it. All right, moving along. So next, the week after that, anything in there in the comments? No? Cool, fine. This is an Ultraboost 4.0. So one of the things I was saying was like, if you look at the design, you kind of see it's got like a more of a grid sort of shape. If you got to look closer in there, whatever. And it's not super apparent, but like this one is more blocky than anything. You'll see an Ultraboost 3 in a minute here, and that one will have like more lines, and then you'll get it. So I'll pull this one back out in a second. But either way, standard black and red color. This was actually one of my first reviews from, I know I got them in 2019. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got them in 2018, but I didn't start the channel until 2019, you know? But either way, that was one of the first reviews. This right here was, well, it still is technically. It's one of my concert shoes, which is why they look kind of terrible. If you get up on them, you'll see a lot of dirt and spilled things. But this is the Retropy P9, right? Which is it? Yeah. This is the Retropy P9, which when I got it, I was like, I don't know, like it seems like it could be okay, but overall, it's not. It's not that great of a shoe, right? It's comfortable. It's got the whole boost thing going on, so that's nice or whatever. But there's a reason why you don't see a whole lot of these. The E5 is still around, and that's still going. I think I have one over here. But either way, the P9, it is just, sometimes you make things and they just don't work out so great. But it is what it is. I mean, I wore it as a concert shoe and just used it for that only, because I wasn't going to wear it on a daily basis or anything like that. But whatever. And then this one, this is an Ultraboost. This is a 1.0 because you can barely tell, but it does have the little heart-shaped logo down there on the inside. And if I get a picture for you real quick here, where's the flash? Because these do have the 3M on there, right? But if you don't know that, you probably wouldn't think anything of it because it's not the thing that's really just going to stand out a whole lot. But anyway, so that's what these look like if you get the flash on there. So this was the 5th anniversary Ultraboost from when was this? 16 or 17? According to the inside, it says, let me see, what does this say? 17. So this was from 2017. It's got like the nice 3M and all that stuff, some yellow tips and whatnot, yellow on the inside. I like black and yellow. I think it's a cool combination. Even got the torsion thing on the bottom, right? So I like the way these look. And then the fact that they were 3M was even better. But here's how I ended up with these because, why not share the story? These were higher priced than your standard Ultraboost because they were kind of special, right? It even says limited on the side. So I saw that and I thought, oh, I guess I just won't have those. But there was a glitch on the Adidas page one day and everything was like they had a coupon or either everything was just like automatically 50% off, something crazy low. And so I made an order for those and it actually went through. Well, I mean, the order went through, but they actually went through with like honoring all those orders that happened in that like couple hours that the site was messed up. So that's how I got those. Had the price been what it was and I had to pay that, I probably wouldn't be talking about them right now. If the price was whatever it was and this happened nowadays, then I'd probably have them because, well, my threshold for how much I'm willing to spend is a little different than it was, oh wow, like 6 years ago. What is this? The Terex 2 Ultra Parley. It's one of my trail shoes, right? So, well, you can't really tell there, but just take my word for it. It's got a super rugged midsole going on and outsole down there. It's got this nice bunch of whatever happening. The upper is pretty good as well, sure. They do have a sort of a big sort of feel to them. Once again, with like the Nike thing, this one you could probably go down half a size and be fine. I didn't, and I didn't even do it on the other one, but I just wear thicker socks when stuff is a little big, and that just kind of makes things fine. So when I say thicker socks, I mean like average thickness. I have a lot of thin socks, like running socks or whatever. So I wear my normal thickness ones with stuff like this, and then everything's usually just fine. But either way, I do like these a lot because, again, I like trail shoes and I like the coloring, and I think the bottom is really cool too. It's got this like marble sort of look to it. So a lot of this particular one is a visual thing, and that's what won me over. But when you actually get these out there on the trails, even for running or whatever, they're actually like really nice for what they're made to do. Some things just look nice. Some things actually follow through and have some amount of functionality. This fills both, so that's pretty cool. Now, on the other side of that, and I'm not going to say necessarily that they're bad, but these right here, right, if you're used Wait, what's that saying? Retro P were always a bit hit and miss. Yeah, they even had some Retro P E5s that were like different materials or whatever. Kind of like how like if you think about the Air Max, not the Air Max Plus or something, right? They make them in different materials or whatever and all that. But yeah, the E5s were overall better, but those P9s, this just best to just not even bother with them, honestly. But this right here, this is the Ultraboost DNA and the Lego colorway. Well, the black and yellow Lego colorway. Got the Lego things on the side, on the back, and the thing down there on the inside, right? Now, my problem with these is just that compared to like a normal Ultra Boost style that was like all knitted and like felt like wearing a sock, as far as like how it conforms to your foot or whatever and really just hugs it in all the right places and all the right ways. This right here doesn't do that. It's got this like bulkier sort of thing going on, and they just don't feel as good as a standard Ultra Boost, right? Also, down on the inside, you see that? You see how like the Legos, it's got like the bumps or whatever, kind of like a normal Lego would. Somebody had said something in when I did the review or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, well, I think those just like wear down over time." And I didn't feel that way. I didn't think that they would, but I wasn't gonna get into like an argument of opinions with some dude on the internet. Like that's a waste of time by my standards, right? So I was like, oh, maybe whatever, just kind of wrote it off. Don't think about it. But the other thing being like, even if they did that for me, because I have a lot of shoes, keeping my rotation moving meant that I probably wasn't going to wear these enough to wear them down anyways. But I had to go out of town, and so I took these with me, thinking like, this will be if anything, this will be the time when I can wear these a lot, right? And they still feel exactly the same, which is a way that I don't like, right? It's some people might be into it. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's like the worst thing ever because I can't say that, right? All I can say is that by my opinion, I do not like the way they feel on the inside. And I said the same thing about some Jordan 12. Was it the Royalty, maybe? Where it had like a non standard insole. It happens every so often. I don't like it, but it's nothing I can really do. I mean, I could not buy them, sure, but you know, it's a minor complaint. I don't wear those a whole lot anyway, so what's the matter? Terex sell for mega money here in the UK? Really? I wonder why that would be. I mean, unless they're just like not common or something. But I feel like because like the review, it got like some decent views or whatever. But I don't. It's one of those things. I also don't see anybody wearing them. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I'm like a little surprised. Now, before I show you this one, got to take one more picture here because this is one of those ones that has like the 3M thing. So much like the last shoe I just showed you, right? This one right here, same sort of thing. Is that picture blurry? Yeah. Either way, so it's much like the last one I just showed you. This one, same sort of thing. This is the Show Me the Money 8 Ultra Boost, right? So Show Me the Money is apparently some show. I think it's a reality show about rappers or something, like rap battling or something like that. It's a Korean thing. I never looked into it because I didn't really care. And this one, you can kind of tell once again that it does have the heart shaped logo thing on the front, which is a little easier to see if you look at that. See how it's got like this the heart shaped thing or an arrow, whatever you want to call it. That's what I was saying when I was saying that like the Ultra Boost One has that design. That's what I was kind of getting at, right? In this way, and it almost looks like a fox head to me, like you could draw a face on there. But either way, that's a way to know if you're looking at an Ultra Boost 1 or whatever, just like the stitching pattern that they use. The 2 switches it up. Like I was saying, looks like this instead. So there's that for you. But yeah, I do like these because like the 3M is there. And I honestly, other than that, like if it was just plain black, I wouldn't care about them, right? But they're not. So that's why they get the attention that they got and they got the money that they got. There was also a white version as well, but was it gray? I feel like it was white, but it just didn't do it for me. And once again, another pair of the Ultra Boost Uncaged. This particular one right here, this is one of my like daily wear type shoes. You can kind of tell that well, maybe on that side. Like, I don't know. Like, even the shoes that I wear a whole lot don't really look super worn, is what I've been told. But this one right here, this is probably my favorite Ultraboost Uncaged, just because I really like this brown and tan color that they have here. So, and there you couldn't really see it so much on the other one, but you do have the three stripes on the front piece of, for branding and whatever. It's kind of subtle, so like you don't really see much of anything on there unless you really know what you're looking at. Because from the outside, like it's kind of plain, right? Excuse me. From the outside, I'm looking at it, but from the outside, it's kind of plain, right? You got the Ultra Boost thing in the back, but that's about it. Then on the inside, you have that, which on this other one, I mean, it's not unnoticeable. It's just like you might easily miss it, whereas on this one, it stands out just a bit more. But like I was saying, the Ultra Boost Uncaged, like I was actually thinking about going back and buying some, like if I can find any that are unworn, because I like them that much. I just I'm wondering like because they were so not mass produced, I'm wondering if like the prices are decent because like if you go and buy like standard Ultra Boost, it's probably not bad, but since those were a little lighter on the numbers, kind of wonder how that would play out. Let's see. You only occasionally see them in specialist stores. The tear, huh? That's interesting to me. I mean, because I know it's like they aren't for everybody, right? It's not just like a normal casual wear shoe because like they have that trail thing going on or whatever. So I can see how they might not be everywhere, but I I haven't been in a UK shoe store, so I don't know what things are like. But I just know here, like if I go to like a sporting shoe store, like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that, they'll have trail shoes. Not a whole lot of them, but they'll have them. Whereas if I go to Foot Locker, I'll see one every so often, but it's not common. So, in a way, what you're saying makes sense to me. It's one of those things where, like, since I never thought about the Terex a whole lot, it's on my mind now. I'm like, huh, I guess I can see why these aren't a huge seller because you have to know about it to want to even look into it. And how many pairs do I have? I don't have that number. Like, not at all. I don't count. The only reason I knew like how many 350s I had was because it was easy. Like the boxes were all stacked up, and I was like, oh, okay, well if this is this many in this stack, and there's like this number, like quick multiplication. But over the years, I bought a lot of shoes, and I mean everything that's been reviewed on the channel or whatever, it has been for me. So like I still have everything unless I specifically said it's for somebody else. So the numbers are up there. The number is up there for sure. I just have no idea what it is. And I kind of don't want to know what it is, honestly. This is the Nice Kicks, as you see there. Nice Kicks Ultra Boost, right? They made two of these. The other one was black and white, but the midsole was 4D. This one's just like your standard Ultra Boost, and it's got like a crimson and reddish sort of thing going on there. I broke these out the other day because same with like I was supposed to mention before, but these right here, I wore these the other day when I went to go see that new Saw movie because they kind of made me think of like those circular saws and blood, because like that's what I think of when I think of that movie, as most people do. So I broke these out for that reason. And the Show Me the Money Ultra Boost, I kind of was saying earlier on a post that I wore them because it made sense. I went to go see that Expendables movie, the newest one, which is not good, really. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear these because it's got a skull on it. It's like kind of flashy. It's got the whole show me the money thing, right? Because like they're money driven people. Now, moving along, this right here, this is an Ultra Boost 3.0, right? So this is I think I feel like I said that backwards earlier. This is a 3.0. This is a 4.0. Is that what I said earlier? If it's not, this is the 4, right? So like I was saying, the 3, you see how this got like, it's more lined, right? From what I remember, the design of this was supposed to be kind of like the tendons or something in your feet, right? So that's kind of the way they did it as far as the look. And then when you look at this one has like a more blocky sort of thing, right? So that's kind of what I was getting at with the difference and all that stuff. So minor things, but like if you're looking at somebody's Ultra Boost from a distance, they all look kind of the same, but once you get up there on them, then you'll notice that. And I don't have a pair over here. I should have grabbed one, but if you ever see a lot of the Ultra Boost DNAs, you'll see, I think they have the two, or they have the one on the top with like the little heart, then they have the two on the side. The three is in the middle section, and then the four at the back has like a lot of the squares. So they take all of the styles and they put them all into the one shoe. Not all of the DNAs, but a chunk of them, right? Just to kind of keep with the whole Ultraboost DNA from the past releases. But I will say, this here, the Trace Pink colorway, that is my favorite Ultraboost, period. Like, I'm not saying like model wise or anything like that, but overall, if I had to rack and stack my Ultraboost collection, I am 99% sure that the Trace Pink is number one. Not because it's like super amazing, but for some reason, I really just like that color combination. I don't know what it is about it, but like when I saw it, I kind of just had to have it. And luckily, because I knew that those things weren't selling a whole lot, I was able to wait it out and get a nice little discount there. Let's see. I have to confess that I probably have Adidas Originals X 120 to 130. My friends call me Andy. That there's nothing wrong with that. Some people might say there's something wrong with that. They're stupid. Don't worry about that. Because the thing is, like, assuming you're still paying all your bills and stuff, doing your normal responsibilities, like having a lot of shoes, it just kind of happens. Like, and some people, like, they'll say, oh man, I want to have so many like that or whatever. And like they kind of overlook that, like, it becomes a thing of like over time. Like, I'm sure you didn't just go out one week and you're like, you know what? I want some Adidas shoes. I'm going to buy this many. And like you just did it all of a sudden. It was probably a thing that happened over some amount of time, right? So for me, a lot of my purchases, like you look at like the Asics, the vast majority of the Adidas or the Nikes, take out the 350s or the Jordans, basically everything that I bought came in at some kind of discount, whether it's like on sale because they're trying to move them or it's a sale because it's like a holiday. A lot of the stuff I bought came in at a discount, right? And it's not anything that I had to like go out of my way for, like dig deep into some raffles and hope things go all right for me. No, so that's kind of why my numbers are fairly high because like I get curious about things. I'm like, oh, I want to know what this thing is all about. How do these feel on feet? Are these worth really buying? Do they look kind of decent, right? So it's a lot of curiosity that gets me. It's somewhat of a casual consumer mindset. I just spend more than the casual consumer, I guess. But I do all that, and then the numbers kind of just go up and up and up, right? And so some people, I think they just see me with the shoes, like people at work or whatever, and they think that I just buy these constantly, like all the time. I'm just like no, there was a time, sure, when I was buying like a pair or two a week, but now it's just I've got so many that cover all the things and all the colors that I need that now I don't really have to. I can just like sit back and wait it out for a thing I like. So like tonight, when is it tonight or tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning, I think it is. I'm gonna put up my quarterly pickup video, like as in what is it, July, August, September, the shoes that I bought over those 3 months. Yeah, not a whole lot of them, and most of them, they're not anything anybody was going crazy over. It's just some stuff that grabbed my interest. This is one of those things that definitely grabbed my interest a while ago. It's the EQT 9118. They also made a 9317, which I had briefly, but I didn't like it. Forget what it was about it, but it just wasn't for me. So the 9118, as it says on there, the original EQT style that they based this off of came out in 91. Then they retooled it in 2018. So that's where the name comes from. Same thing applies for the 9317, right? So anyways, this right here, though, in a lot of ways, this is probably one of the most comfortable Boost shoes, right? It's up there with the upper wise. It's up there with the Yeezy 350 Compact, which I think has a really, really nice upper. And even down here, it feels pretty solid. Like I'm trying not to like oversell it, because I like it a lot, but I don't want to make you think you need to like it a lot. But this is definitely something that I think could have done better if they either A, released more colors, or B, made it more known that they even existed. Whatever the problem was, I don't know, but I just know that nobody was buying these. I ended up getting these from Concepts from like 50% off, and they still had a full size run like years later. cncpts.com. That's what I'm saying. I haven't been on there lately, but they used to have all kinds of sales. And so the reason I bring these up, I'm done with the shoes that I actually wore for the month or whatever. I closed things out with that Trace Pink Ultraboost 3 because I really like those. It seemed like a good way to end the month. But these next two, including this one or whatever, are some models that I would like to have worn, but I just didn't get around to it because I lost a lot of time on account of the ska festival that was here. And then I had to take a trip out of town with some family and all that stuff. So I didn't get around to wearing as many things as I would have liked to. So I'm just going to take a moment to cover some things that should have been on the list, but unfortunately were not. Also, there were various Ultraboost models that I didn't get to either. I have a couple variations of the Cold Readies and a couple variations of the Climacools, other NMDs and stuff. There were a lot of things, and there were a lot of 350s that I wanted to wear too, but it just didn't work out. So I'm not going to pull out those because, all Ultraboosts are largely the same. Like I said, I didn't pull out any 22s, but I gave you that whole rundown about the 21s to make up for it. So this right here, the Adidas ZX 5K Boost. Super heavy, very heavy, very heavy. I want to stress that because these are very heavy. But midsole wise, they kind of remind me of the 350. Upper wise, I have another pair, like the models get a little weird because kind of like the Retro P9s. You might want to look closely at the one you're looking at because of the two that I have, the upper materials are very different, very different. This one overall comes in a little heavier, whereas my lime purple color, whatever it is, comes in a little lighter. But it is what it is. All in all, I do like the way they look. It's not for everybody, I guess, which is probably why they didn't really sell a whole lot of them. But this was a model that I bought last September because for Ultraboost month, I wanted to buy something new, or Boost month. I wanted to buy something new to me, so that's why I bought these. And it worked out pretty well, and I told myself if I ever see a better color, because at the time I only saw that one, I was like, this isn't bad, but if I ever see a better one, I'm getting that one because I do like these enough. So that's why, if you saw the other ZX 5K Boost review, that's why I got those. And what do you know? Here is a Retro E5, right? So I forget what they call this colorway, acid orange or something like that. It looks kind of sad and dilapidated, honestly, like when you're not wearing it because there's nothing in here really keeping the shoe alive. Kind of like how I was talking about how the Ultraboost on Cage have a cage on the inside that keeps it inflated looking. This just looks sad and run down, but they do feel really nice. The one thing that I will also say I'm not a fan of, though, you can't. I don't know if you heard all that. Sometimes when you're walking, like this tongue rubs against some other material in here, and it makes like the worst sound, right? It's something that you kind of deal with, I guess. Like after a while, you just kind of don't hear it anymore. It's probably still happening, but you're probably just used to it. It's kind of like how people talk about like squeaking in the Vapor Maxes and stuff. I have a lot of Vapor Maxes. I honestly don't really notice it, but it's probably because my mind is just not on that when I'm walking. But they got the gum bottom, which is the thing that I like. And this one, like I said, came out at the same time as the P9, and this was like the clear winner. Kind of reminds me of the Air Max Dawn, as far as like the build and stuff. But if you can find one and you like the color, I think you'll be in for a treat, if you will, because they feel really nice on the feet and whatnot. And at the end of the day, isn't that really all that matters? That and you like how they look. So there is that. Let's see. I have to go, my friend, but I really enjoyed the video, buddy. You do a very enjoyable take on the trainers. Have a great day tomorrow, my friend. I will be sure to catch you again. Have fun. Thank you very much. I'm actually about to go too, so I guess we're leaving around the same time because that was the last thing I needed to talk about. And like he was alluding to, Foxy was alluding to, or she, he didn't really say. But the thing for me is like, this is more like this type of shoes that I'm into, right? A lot of like the big Jordan things and all that stuff, and like the older Bo Jackson whatevers, they don't really do it for me personally because I just don't really. I didn't want to say, but yeah, I just generally assume that most people watching this are he's, unless they specifically have a name that says like Sheila or something, But thank you though for clarifying. But yeah, so when it comes to like buying the shoes and stuff, all that other stuff is cool at times. I buy my share of like the Jordans, 12s anyways. But I prefer the trainer type shoes because I can wear those casually day in, day out, depending on the rain. You know, you might need a like the cold ready ones or something. I can wear them to the gym. They just have more functionality. They're usually cheaper. They feel better for the most part. So that's just kind of what I like. You know, everybody's got their thing. That's just mine, whatever. And it's cool because since that's what I buy and that's generally what I talk about, it usually pulls in other people that kind of care to hear about that stuff. So whenever I do like Jordan reviews, they generally don't do very well because a lot of the people that watch my stuff or whatever, they don't care about those a whole lot. Some people do, and they'll just watch it because it's there, or they'll just watch it because it's there. But for the most part, I know my audience kind of, a lot of the audience kind of feels how I feel about stuff, which is what makes sense. If you're making things based off of how you feel, you'll attract people who feel how you feel. See how that works? But, anyways, I'm going to ask this real quick to anybody out there. If you have any questions or whatever, please go ahead and put them in the thing and I'll address them before I leave. But for now, I'm going to start closing out this video because I've been sitting here talking for about 46 minutes and 13 seconds. So I'm going to take a break from this and go actually read some comic books. That's what I'm doing after this. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Like I said a little earlier, I will be putting up another wrestling shirt thing, but then in the morning, pretty sure it's going to be in the morning because, you know, you can only get like so many notifications out, 3 notifications in a 24-hour period. So I'll probably put that out in the morning so that way people don't miss it. Talking about my quarterly pickups for the last quarter, and then people can watch that and whatnot in the morning, probably around 9:30 p.m. Virginia time. So if you're into that kind of thing, know that it's coming. If you don't care about that kind of thing, that's fine too. I don't really care a whole lot either. But thanks for everybody that stopped in and kind of listened to me ramble on a bit and whatnot. But now that I've said everything I need to say, I'm going to leave you to go do whatever you're going to do with the rest of your day. And I'm going to go see what happens in the 3rd issue of Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter. So, later, people.